good evening. I see you've returned for some more true ghost stories. Well, okay then, if you think your heart can take it. We are going to start with a story about a couple of buds that wanted to go camping, to get away from it all. But when they arrive, they discover that they are not alone. It's called the camping trip.
So my birthday was recently, and I had a buddy come in from out of town to celebrate, and we decided we wanted to go out camping for a night. Well, we leave at 4 a.m., and once we leave the interstate to turn on a dirt road, it would take about an hour and a half to reach our spot. But I kid you not, the millisecond we hit that road, it was straight primal fear, and it came and went in waves but got worse every time it peaked. And nothing was said between me and my friend to add to the fear. Other than 20 minutes in. He was like, "Man, I know you don't like talking about this, but I've felt something for a while now," and I agreed. By the time we made it to the camp spot, turn off, we both agreed we felt like we couldn't even stop the car. So we kept pushing to the next town and sat there till the sun came up. And once it did, we felt just fine. And this is when he dropped on me that he had been seeing people stand by the roadside occasionally the whole ride. And I didn't see that, but smelt stale cigarettes when the waves came and went. Fast forward, the daytime went just fine. But as night hit, we went to bed and all night heard people talking and then a full-on shriek, and it was done. After that, we went to sleep in the truck. My main reason for posting this is just to see if any of you have any ideas what was going on. I will add, there was a very unfortunate incident involving native people there about 200 years ago, so I don't know if that will help. Thanks all.
Well, did you guys at least get to roast any marshmallows? Next, we have one from an OP that was having a pretty boring night at work. That was, of course, until she started working with a ghost.
I had gotten called into a shift at work. I only had to work 6:30 to 10, so it wasn't too bad, but it still felt really long. We were really slow. Anyways, my best friend and I had a shift together, so of course we chit-chat when no one was around. She was working deli, and I was at the register. Well, I ended up needing the bathroom, so I had her cover register for me. My legs were hurting pretty bad, so I sat in there for a few minutes in silence. I heard the door start to wiggle like someone was trying to open it, so I yelled out, "Wrong bathroom," and it stopped. The customer bathroom key is really loud because it has a metal piece on it, so I would have heard it if it was picked up. I never heard anything. The door once again started to wiggle, this time more aggressively. I immediately texted my friend on Snapchat to see if it was her messing with me, and it wasn't. So I got up and went out. Not a soul customer in the store. I was a little freaked out, but this is when it started getting really weird. It was like 7:38, and it was really windy out. We were talking to each other at the register because there was no one in the store. All of a sudden, the office door slams shut. Not a breeze in the store, no one in sight, just us. You have to physically shut the door for it to close. And it slammed. She has left for the night at 9, and I was alone for about an hour, so I started doing my coffees, which involves me going to the kitchen to dump them in the sink. Anyways, I'm dumping coffees when I hear a loud crash out in the store, so I ran out to find nothing. So I went to go back into the kitchen, and the sink was running, which I didn't turn on in the first place. At this point, I started to get angry. I yelled out, "Whoever or whatever is messing with me, stop, it's not funny." And the store went dead silent. You could hear a pin drop, so I put on some music to ease the quiet. 9:55 rolled around, and I started to close down. I was counting down my drawer when I heard a crash come from the kitchen. I was the only one here. I had locked the door already and checked the back door. Locked. I finished my count, walked to clock out, and as I unlocked the door and put in the code to leave, I yelled out, "Leave me alone and stop messing with me!" I walked out, shut the store down, and left.
Gee, if the ghost was going to hang out in your store while you're trying to close up, then the least he can do is pitch in and help out. Before we get into our next tale, I just want to take a moment to remind you to, assuming your hands are not trembling with terror at the moment, hit like and subscribe. It'll really raise our spirits, so to speak. And if you don't, I swear I'll come and haunt your house. I'll rattle chains at all hours of the night, yell boo while you're trying to sleep. I'll raid your fridge, and I'll, try on all your clothes and stuff. Just a lot of scary stuff. Next up, we have one from an OP that has had several experiences while she was growing up. It's called Ghost from My Childhood.
I am writing this to get my thoughts in order about what I experienced as a kid. My husband doesn't believe any of this. He is scared of anything paranormal. I want to write this out since he won't listen, and I don't want to tell people I know about this. I am 30 years old. I grew up in a log house. I shared a room with my siblings until I was around 10. My older brother had night terrors and would sleepwalk, so he would often request to sleep in my room. One night I was sleeping in my bed, and my brother was also asleep. I woke up feeling like I needed to use the bathroom, which was across the hall from my open bedroom door. I felt scared to get out of bed. I don't think it was sleep paralysis, just a fear. I had a sense that there was a man blocking the open door. I say sense because I couldn't fully see him. It was as though my vision was fuzzy. He seemed to wear military attire. No one in my family is in the military. He was just standing there. I tried waking my brother to show him, but he wouldn't wake up. I don't know how long I sat in bed scared to get up, when all of a sudden, my little sister came sprinting down the hallway, asleep. It woke my brother up and the figure vanished. I don't know what that experience meant. Fast forward a few years, I started having an interest in the paranormal when I read a book series by Meg Cabot. I think it was called The Mediator. It's about a girl who befriends a spirit. It was when I was in middle school, so my memory on the book series isn't super clear. Due to my fascination with the character's paranormal friendship, I wrote a letter inviting a spirit to make contact with me. Over the next few years, many mild things started occurring. I would hear whispering while reading in my room. My siblings, and I would call the ghost Bobby after the clothing line Bobby Jack that I used to like at that age. One night as I was lying in bed, I was looking up at the ceiling. I'm not sure if I woke up or if I was trying to sleep. I was looking up, and my eyes caught sight of a dark black cloud-like apparition gliding up the wall and onto the ceiling. My eyes followed it. As it slid up the ceiling over my body, I felt a feeling like electricity over me. I didn't know what to think of it. I never thought about it again, and didn't tell anyone. I almost forgot about it until I was listening to a Listener Tale podcast, and someone spoke of a similar experience and sensation of the electrical feeling while seeing a dark cloud. I was shocked when I heard of these similar stories. Our laundry room was in the basement, and when I would get my clothes from the dryer door would shut on its own as I walked back up the stairs. I also felt the need to run up the stairs on random days, like something was on my heels chasing me. I moved into the big basement bedroom when my brother left for college. I had a big Maine Coon mixed cat. One night, I was watching TV on an old box TV without a remote. The TV kept turning off. I had this TV for many years and never had it turn off on its own. I would have to walk across the large room to turn it back on. When it would turn off, I was left in the complete darkness due to the basement not having windows. This occurred 3 times. When it turned off the 3rd time, my cat started fluffing up his fur as if he was preparing to fight something. He yelled and growled at the edge of the bed. I have never seen him act that way. I couldn't see anything due to being in complete darkness, but knew my cat was obviously uncomfortable with something at the edge of the bed. I was so terrified. I have tried to remember what happened next, but I cannot remember. My light switch was all the way across the room, so maybe I got the courage to turn the light on. I wish I remembered. I moved out of the house when I was older, but my younger cousin moved into my old room I was in when I would hear the whispering and saw the military man. I was visiting, and she called me to her room to show me something. Her fluffy cat was fluffed up and growling at something in the corner of the room. The same corner that I saw a black shadow hover over me. She said the cat hated being in the room. She took him out to show me what he would do when walking past the doorway. He crouched to the floor and would nervously look in the room before sprinting to the other side of the hallway. I was freaked out. Nothing has happened since I live with my own family. I'm not mad about that. Please let me know if you have experienced anything like this.
Wait, your husband is scared of everything paranormal? Even little old me? But I'm a pussycat. Well, it's almost that time again, isn't it? But you know what? Just to show you that I am indeed the ghost host with the most, I'll tell you one more story. It's from someone that is glad they don't live in their family's house anymore.
I'm not gonna write some sort of story. These are me and my family's real experiences. I'll preface with saying the houses I've lived in the last 5 years are 100-plus-year-old mining houses. Lots of sad stuff happened in our town. Each one of these houses has felt like home. Quiet, warm, peaceful, even in the dead of winter. My parents' house. Built in the 70s, normal, suburb house. We're the second owners. Nothing sad happened there or traumatic. Old family passed natural and their sons kinda used the house as a party house. We renovated it when I was a teen. I don't live there anymore, and I'm damn glad. I have no idea what's up with that house that each person in our family has had an experience, even my skeptic mother. So I'll just go down the list and give a timeline for when activity kicked up and quieted down. First couple months, about 6 months, living in our house, we'd all consistently hear our names in another's voice, basically in a calling you over tone. Each time we got to the person who called our name, they'd literally just be vibing in their room and go, "Nope, didn't call you." Cue awkward stare and shuffling away. Happened multiple times to everybody. I'm honestly convinced it happened to our dog too. She'd just walk in randomly and look at you like you called her name. She was old too, but she was also a dog and just loved love. I think this next one was within the first years of living there. I can't remember exactly when, just that I was in high school, I think. Entire family went to bed, which means we're all in our rooms and awake still but settling in for sleep. I thought I heard someone or something walk down the small hallway we had between all our rooms, but brushed it off because I was terrified. Until my dad comes in. He was almost asleep apparently, and asks me if I ran down the hallway and why I did. I had not. He then asked my sister, whose room was right next to mine, and obviously her answer was the same. I hadn't heard her get out of bed or see her walk down the hallway. Once again, awkward pause. Well, good night guys, kid you not. I should mention he did say it wasn't the dog because she was on the floor in their room when it happened. House got really quiet. I always, and still do, got tense in there though. This next one is probably just a horrible sleep paralysis nightmare, but I couldn't sleep or go into our living at night alone for several days. I basically had a very vivid dream that me and my sister were in our living room and being chased and harassed by what I'll call a demon. That's kinda what I remember. I remember that in the dream me and her were on our couch and had watched some sort of shadowy figure crawl up the curtains, on top of the rods, then disappear behind them or vanished. In my dream I told my sister to get our parents and that I'd watch it. Then I remember being chased around the coffee table, knocked to the ground by whatever it was and trying to scream. I was also trying to scream in real life apparently, which is why I think it was a case of bad nightmare and sleep paralysis. I remember waking up trying to scream. I felt like I couldn't, and I was in total flight or fight mode. Took me a minute and then my teenage ass went to tell my mom. My dad was out of town, and slept with her. I couldn't sleep the rest of the night, and the next 2 nights I really couldn't sleep. I was too damn scared. That was the last of it for a long time. Which was a relief. Until recently. In the last couple years my sister has told me whatever is in the house has kicked up activity again. Mostly by opening and closing cupboards at night when she solidly knew everybody was asleep. Then during a time I was visiting it happened to me. I was lying in bed with my mom, because my old room is now an office, staring at my phone. She's asleep and snoring, and our new family dog was also sleeping with us on the bed. Then I heard several cabinets in the kitchen open and close. I kinda just stopped for a second. There was no other noise it could have been because I've heard that sound for years. I texted my sister to see if she was awake because we both stay up on our phones at night, like everybody else.
She said yes, and I asked if she heard that. She said yes, then asked if it was Mom. I said no and asked if Dad had gotten up even though I hadn't heard him leave his room/office. There's a couch in there. She obviously said no. I obviously freaked out a little and told her good night. She said the same to me. Next day we talked about it more, of course, and were just scared. At this point we're kinda used to it after a majority of the scary things happening earlier on. But it was just a reminder, and still is, that there's something in that 70s house that shouldn't be there and that my historic homes lack. I don't know. That house has made me a believer, and my entire family, even my mom, gets uncomfortable occasionally. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Nothing groundbreaking, but just reasons I hate going home anymore and walking in that house at night to this day.
Gee, I can't say I blame you. And with that, I believe it's time to call it a night. But, before you leave, could you do me a little favor? Could you please hit like, subscribe, and share this video? It'll really help us keep the ghosts at bay. And of course, if any of you have a story to share, or have anything you'd like to tell me at all, then by all means, drop me a line in the comments. But I do want to thank you for stopping by, and I hope the stories we told won't be giving you too many bad dreams. But, if they do, then maybe you shouldn't run from them. After all, sometimes it's better to embrace your nightmares.